educational critical review and reaction is the late, great Jordan Maxwell.
The reason why all of this apparatus, conspiratorial apparatus, works, the reason why it works so well is because it is so far into the imagination of most humans to conceive that there are actually people smarter than you, who are far more desperately evil than you, and who, criminals. That's why crime is referred. We call it organized crime. But good people never get organized. The animals out in the Serengeti plains of Africa, the zebras and all the animals out there on the plains, they don't get organized. But the lions are organized. There may be only 4 or 5, but they know what they're doing, and they work in orchestration with each other. So they are organized. But good people have never been organized. They just live their life, feed their kids, and hope for the best because they don't know anything, they don't read anything, they don't know nothing, and they don't want to know. All they want to do is watch TV and have a few beers and enjoy life. Well, that's exactly what the animals out in the prairie are doing. They're just living their life, but the lions have gotten organized, and they're going to take you out. And so America is, as I said, all of this is so far into most people's imagination, so far into people to think that even 70 to 80 to 100 years ago. Are you kidding? I've got documents going back into the 16th century that they already knew what they were going to do to this country and what they wanted to do settled. Then after it was settled here and the Constitution was signed, there were documents even that's the very year that this country was signed in Europe talking about what they're going to have to do to this new upstart called the States. They're going to have to do something to stop this because the Holy Father is very unhappy. And so the Jesuits are sent over here to make sure this does not happen. It's an incredible story.
You say that, well, give us some light, but you say that the only light is a train, the only light at the end of the tunnel is a train coming at you.
Yep.
Is that how you feel?
All right. What I would suggest, and this is just my opinion, you're asking for a subjective opinion.
Yes.
I think that the only thing of any value to do today, given the circumstances, and as I said, I've only been looking at this for 50 years, I would suggest that each person who really cares about the situation that's happening on the earth today and where we're going should go someplace quietly by themselves where no one's around and sit and audibly talk to the Spirit, talk to God, so to speak, talk to the spirit world. The spirit the spirit world exists just as you exist. You just don't see them. But air exists and you don't see that. Television and radio waves exist, but you don't see that either. But the spirit world does exist. There are spirit entities around us. And in that way, I believe the Bible is correct, that there are good spirits and good, what you might call angels or spirits. But I'm saying that that this entity that men have called God, whatever God is, and it's not on TV, it's not on TBN, but whatever God is, it is a spirit, and it is highly intelligent, profound in power, and it hears you. And you will, and so talk to the Spirit, talk to God, so to speak, audibly, and ask the Spirit to protect you, to guide you, to show you what you're supposed to learn, to make sure that you meet who you're supposed to meet, and to learn what you're supposed to learn, and to show you what your destiny is, what you're supposed to do here on the earth. And then after asking for the guidance and protection, etc., from God or the Spirit, then ask the Spirit to show me that you are hearing me. Give me a sign that I'm not talking to myself. Go someplace quietly, talk and tell the Spirit, ask it for what you wish. Then ask the Spirit, show me that you are hearing me. Give me a sign that you're here, and watch what happens. And don't be scared when something actually happens. If you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and there's a spirit entity standing by your bed, or something like that happens to you, Try not to be too frightened, because after all, you did ask,
That's right.
and it did hear you. So my advice is just go to the Spirit and ask for protection and guidance and wisdom, because believe me, what's going on in America and around the world and what's coming that you don't want to know, you have better be in tune with that God force that you call your God. You better get in tune with it, because what's coming and the people who are running this planet, what they got in mind for you and your children, you don't want to know.
Jordan, you realize you sound a bit like William Cooper, do you?
No.
Well, you know who Bill Cooper was, and
well, and I know all about Bill Cooper. I was a personal friend, and I used to do his show. I mean, I've done his show before.
This call is called Veritas for a reason. But we all know that he had an untimely and discernible death. Some people are suicided. I want to know, how is it that you are still talking, Jordan?
I think the reason why, and believe me, I ask myself that every morning. It takes me everything I've got just to awaken, just to get up, because I'm so sick. But I know, I don't think, believe, I know that I have been given something to do. And so I have a purposeful life. I live every day for my work and to do what I do. I don't know, I don't know what the outcome is. I don't care. I've just been given something to do, and I care about the human family. I care about what's going on, and I've been looking at it for almost 50 years, and I'm well aware of what's coming. And what is coming on the earth, you have no idea how bad it's going to be, because you're not only going to lose your great republic, you're not only going to lose your freedom and your liberty, but you're going to lose your mind. You're going to lose your brain, because the whole idea of the video games and the digital revolution out all over the earth is designed by scientists to mutate the human psyche. It's a scientific experiment going on, and we call it digital. But digital is comparing an I to an O, the 10. And there's an occult science behind digital. And that ultimately what is being worked out is that somehow or another, digital is going to be brought together and married to the human brain. And they are actually taking cells out of the human brain and putting them into digital equipment so that the computer will begin to think for itself. So ultimately, what is being planned by the masters of this world behind the scenes is they are mutating and creating what Adolf Hitler and the Nazis called the new man. Go look it up in a dictionary, NEWMAN, the new man. The new man will be the $8 million computer genius. He will be a human that is actually computerized. He will dance to the tune of the computer. He will watch only certain football games. He will only watch basketball. He will shop at this particular place. Go back and get the movie Network with William Holden.
Can't take it anymore.
Network. Yeah, it's just incredible. What is going on, and what they're doing to the human family, what these scientists are doing for their masters, it's just an incredible nightmare.
One last question.
Wake up and find out.
One last question, Jordan. What's your interpretation of the paintings at the new Denver airport? Do they depict the New World Order after a certain event, or, for example, when the elites return to the surface from the underground bases? What's your take on the Denver airport?
Well, I had a lady who worked on the underground when it was being constructed. Mm-hmm. And she sent me, I've lost it a long time ago, I lost it, but when it was being constructed, and she was taking pictures of the underground construction going on, illegally, I guess, but nonetheless, she got pictures and videos, and I remember sitting watching them for hours, the videos of what they were building underground under the Denver airport. You don't want to know, I'm telling you. Whatever those things were that they were building, there were what's the word I'm trying to look for? Some kind of conveyance belt where you could stand, and on this huge conveyance belt were these little racks, and you could stand inside this little rack with all the other racks, and people would stand these racks, and they would convey the bodies, your body, down a long track. And it looks like some kind of a conveyance belt to move humans. And of course, I've been well aware of all the underground bases and underground stuff, like in Australia and the Outback, the greatest underground facility in the world.
Pine Gap?
Yeah, and Pine Gap, I don't know how many miles down it is. That's a whole story about how I don't even know. I would need another 5 hours on your show just to get into some of this stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if some of that horrible stuff we're seeing in movies just might be in fact happening. And that's why the United States has been for many years with Russia and all the other heads of state been building something called a space station. Many, many years ago, there was a movie called Silent Running. And in the movie Silent Running, which you can still rent, was a story about a space station that is being built in outer space. And so today we have something called the biosphere. If you remember, many years ago there was a biosphere out in Arizona.
Yes, I know it.
In which they put like 6 or 7 men and women scientists inside of a glass environment, and they could not come out for like 4 years,
yes.
3 or 4 years, 5 years. And it was an experiment to see if humans could live in their own little environment in something called a biosphere, where they would water the plants, the sun would heat the humidity, the humidity would rise to the top of the glass ceiling, then it would form heavy and fall back down as rain. And so they wanted to see NASA. It was a NASA military operation, biosphere. But they wanted to see if humans could actually create their own biosphere, in space and live up there forever. Why? It's because somebody was getting ready to run and they're keeping it silent. So that's why you have something called a space shuttle. A shuttle is a bus. You take a bus when you're leaving town. What's happening here with the space program, because it's all Nazis, the Nazis developed what we call NASA. NASA is a purely German, Berlin, 1933 NASA German Nazi operation. Dr. Werner von Braun,
yes,
with Otto Ott and all the other doctors, they all came from Germany through the Vatican. Of course, the Vatican gave all these top Nazis, when the war was going bad for the Nazis, the Vatican gave them something called the Rat Line. The Vatican Rat Line was a place where all the top Nazis could go to the Vatican, get new passports, get new identification, and get money and be sent out all over the world to get the Nazis out of Germany, because the war was not going well. And so the Vatican wanted to save all of their best people. Hitler and Goring and all those guys they were all the top Nazis were gotten out of Germany by the Vatican.
Wait a second. You mentioned Goering and you mentioned Hitler.
Yeah.
Now that's
Hitler. I do not believe at all died. I don't buy that stuff that Hitler committed suicide. That's a bunch of hogwash. Hitler did not.
Where do you think he went?
I think he probably went to Argentina or Paraguay. I would suspect either Paraguay or Uruguay.
Mm-hmm.
Could have stayed in Europe somewhere, but I would suspect he might have went to Uruguay or Paraguay or Argentina, because those 3 countries, especially Uruguay and Paraguay, are founded by the Jesuits.
Yes, yes.
And Hitler was operating. Hitler did not write Mein Kampf. A Jesuit priest named Stempel, Stemple, Father Stempel, who was a Jesuit priest, wrote Mein Kampf. Adolf Hitler did not write Mein Kampf. That was even in the New York Times. I got a picture in the New York Times many years ago with a full article on who actually wrote Mein Kampf. And it said there was a Father Stempel who wrote Mein Kampf for Adolf Hitler. And it was given to him, and he put his name on it. And if he put his name on it, then the Vatican would then agree to finance the Nazi Party through America and through England. And so the Nazi Party was financed by the British and American industry who were actually doing it for the Vatican. So there's a very big story about Adolf Hitler and Mein Kampf and the anti-Semitic movement in the world. There's a world of knowledge that people in this country and around the world have no knowledge of whatsoever.
Three things.
When
I don't mean to interrupt you. Three things about the Bushes, and I'll let you go. And by the way, I would like to invite you one more time in the future to continue this show. Are you okay with that?
Oh, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, that's fine. That's
Three
fine.
things about the Bushes. First, Prescott Bush, everybody knows he was one of the financiers of World War II. I mean, even World War I. But then Bush 41, back in September the 11th, 1990, said that we need a new world order. Fast forward 11 years later to September the 11th, 2001, we know what happened. The common denominator is solar maximum for those 2 days. Now, at 11 more years, that will be September of 2012. Another solar maximum. Do you see a correlation between these three dates?
Yes. Go to my website and go to the store or What's New. Go to What's New. It's a button at the top of my website. It's called What's New. And you will see some new things which I'm developing, new products. And there's one that's out there now. It's been out there for a bit. It's called The Dawn of a New Day.
Yes, that's the newest product.
The Dawn of a New Day. It deals with the solar symbol of the Nazis and communists, because the Nazis and communists were one in the same. What people don't know is that Hitler used the swastika, but he also used a hammer and sickle. And I've got many, many pictures of things in Nazi Germany with the hammer and the sickle, while at the same time in Russia, Stalin used the swastika. So the Russians were using the swastika and the hammer and sickle, while Germany was using the swastika and the hammer and the sickle, because it's one and the same thing. They were being financed by the same people, and so the hammer and the scythe or the sickle was a symbol for a secret society that was financing both Russia and Germany.
Both sides.
For a reason.
To keep them in war.
Yeah, they needed another war.
And the last thing, Paraguay. You mentioned Paraguay, and I have to mention Bush. A couple of years ago, through his daughter Jenna, he bought 100,000 acres of one of the largest aquifers in the world, in the borders of Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. Why do you believe that was?
Because Paraguay was founded. I know that was founded by the Jesuits. It is a Jesuit hideout. And so the Bushes were nothing more than puppets for the Jesuits. And that's why you will see Bush always bowing on his knees, bowing down and kissing the ring of the Pope. It's because there's something else going on here. I've got pictures on my website of Nancy Pelosi kissing the ring of the Pope. I got pictures of and that's on my new video that's on the home page. If you go to the home page, those two brand new videos, they haven't even been released yet. I'm going to release them in about a week or two from now, and they're brand new on that one subject of the symbol of the sun rising, the dawn, the new dawn that's coming. A lot of that was in my other video called The Dawn of the New Day, but now I take it to the next level with the new, brand new video that's not even out yet, that you can order, that's taking apart too this whole idea of the sun, the sun god of Egypt being Amun-Ra, Amun-Re. My God, this, I don't even know where to start when I'm doing interviews. I don't even know where to begin, because none of this makes sense to most people hearing me, because they don't have 48 years of background and experience to relate to what I'm saying. All I'm telling you is that there's something very, very sinister and evil being formulated on the earth against the human race. And these people are desperate. They're going to do what they're going to do, and if you get in their way, they will kill you. John Kennedy thought he was not only handsome and wealthy and the whole world loved him, but he made a simple mistake. He decided to do something on his own, and so they whacked him. And
what was that something? What was that something you're talking about?
Well, I don't want to get into that because I know something about that, and that I would rather not talk about it. But the bottom line is that John Kennedy offended some very powerful people around the world, and especially in the CIA. Because, the CIA was founded by the Knights of Malta, which is a Catholic organization.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, the Knights of Malta founded what is called the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services. After the Second World War, it was founded by members of the Knights of Malta. After the Second World War was over, the Office of Strategic Services, Knights of Malta, was changed to CIA, Central Intelligence Agency. So today, the CIA is a Catholic Jesuit Knights of Malta Masonic Order operating for the Vatican in America, and you need to wake up and find out and smell the roses and to get ready for the destruction of your country by the Vatican, because all roads lead to Rome.
Somebody sent me from El Salvador. Okay, somebody who lives there sent me a picture of the U.S. Embassy there. It's one of the largest ones in the world. It's located on a street called the Knights of Malta. He also sent me a picture of a German car going inside the U.S. Embassy with a Nazi swastika label sticker on the back.
Well, what can I tell you? I'm telling you the same thing.
My God.
I've got pictures of Werner von Braun and his whole the whole NASA crew. I got some pictures. I think they're even on my website of the whole NASA. Well, NASA, Nazi, same thing, but the whole NASA scientific group was a group picture taken in at NASA, and above their heads is a swastika.
Oh.
And this is here in America at NASA, and a swastika.
So it is true what they say, that the Nazis lost the war but won the peace.
You got it. It's about the smartest thing I've heard. That's exactly right.
Jordan, what a pleasure and an honor was to have you, and I hope that after spending a couple of hours with me, you accept and come back with me, because I don't want to disappoint my audience. But folks, Jordan is not feeling well, and I don't want to impose and ask him more and keep him here more, but he's telling us that he will be back with us in the near future. Right, Jordan?
Yes. If you want to go till the top of the hour, and then put that on the next, it's up to you.
If you want to go to the top of the hour, I still have a few questions to ask you, if that's okay with you.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Perfect. Let me
since I'm already here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and let me go on then about this maritime admiralty. Let me give you an idea about the difference between the law of the land and the law of the sea. The law of the sea is the law of water, and that's why people say money goes through your hands like water. No, money is water. And therefore, when a ship pulls into harbor, it comes in on water. And therefore, the ship represents maritime admiralty, or the law of water. This is why you have a citizenship, a sportsmanship, a scholarship, courtship, because the word ship implies maritime admiralty. So your citizenship means that you are a maritime admiralty product of a corporation. That's why you have something called citizenship. And when a ship pulls into harbor, where it parks is called a berth, B-E-R-T-H, a berth. And so all ships according to maritime law, whether it's a rocket ship, a sailing ship, an airship, airplane, if it's a ship, it's female. It's female. That's why all captains will say of their ship, she is this, she's this, and she's that. Because all ships are female by maritime admiralty law.
I could never understand it. Why everybody calls their ships she?
Well, it's because a ship produces the product.
I see.
She laid down and gave birth. And so she produces the product. The most important product on the earth is you. You are the most important product, because you're the only product that they don't have to build. God built it, and you go out there and work and slave and make money, so you are a product. You are referred to as a capital product. A capital product is not something you sell, but something that makes something that you can sell. So you are a capital product. That's why when you were born, you came into this world, and your name is there's two of you. I mean, that's a whole subject we could get into for 3 hours. There's two of you. There's actually 100 states in the Union here. We think there's 50 states, but in point of fact, no, there's actually 100 states in the Union. We call the United States Corporation. There's 100 of them. Because in every state, there are two states. You have New York State or California State, and that's why in California we have something Cal State this, Cal State that. Or you have Alabama State University, Alabama State this, Florida State University, Florida State. And then, of course, you have the state of Florida, the state of Alabama. And state of is a totally different entity, totally has nothing to do. California State has nothing whatsoever to do with the state of California.
Are you talking about the capital, just like D.C. is a different entity?
No, well, that's basically the same idea, but I'm just saying that each state is actually two states. One state is the original state when it was founded, is called, the name of the state comes first. So when California was founded, it became known as California State, or Cal State. And when Alabama was officially founded as a state, it became known as Alabama State. So it's Alabama State or State of Alabama. Well, State of is a federal enclave. The federal enclave operating within the state is called the State of. So State of California means it's the federal establishment within California. It has nothing to do with California State, because that's the state. We have a governor and a Senate, and we have our own government here in California. But that government is totally different than any other government because we are a sovereign state. Like the state of Alabama is like the state of Georgia, is like the state of Israel. It's a government. It's a complete government in its own. But within the state of California, or California State, is a federal establishment, and that's called the State of California.
So when we tell the states, because of everything that's happening, bailouts and so on, and we tell them, come on, start behaving like the sovereign states you are, they're behaving more like federal districts when indeed they are also federal districts.
That's exactly right. That's why they act like it, because they are. And so when the ship pulls into harbor, it parks at the dock, and therefore the ship is bringing in, say, $800 million worth of Toyotas or televisions. Each piece coming off that ship, money is changing hands. So money is changing hands over water. So the ship, brought in, and that's why all ships have a captain, because he represents the capital that's financing the ship. That's why he's called a captain, because he represents the capital, the money. And he's in charge of the money on board, and he better get that shipment where it's supposed to go, because whoever sent it wants to get paid. And so he's the captain of the ship, and she is bringing in the product. Now, when that ship pulls into a harbor, it parks in what is called its berth. It parks at the dock, and then where the ship sits is its berth. And every item coming out that ship has to have its own serial number. It's called a certificate of manifest. Because yesterday the ship wasn't here. You come to work this morning and there's a ship here from Japan with $800 million worth of Toyotas that came in last night. So $800 million worth of business just manifested.
That's where there's a manifest.
Yeah, so therefore you have to have a certificate of what has manifested. It's called a certificate of manifest. Well, each car or each television, whatever, coming off that ship must have its own serial number. How much does it weigh? What color is it? What color eyes? What nationality? Where does it come from? How old is it? What does it weigh? What color is it? Does it have air conditioning? And that's what you are, on your driver's license. How old are you? Where did you come from? How much do you weigh? What color eyes you have? Because you are a maritime Admiralty product.
And Jordan, not to interrupt you, but once again, going back to my friend from El Salvador, he just sent me some information that in El Salvador, people are having these ID cards, which is more or less what we're probably going to be getting here in the United States, with their picture and some digital prints, and people cannot transact, not even in cash, unless they showed that card. Is El Salvador a lab of what's coming here?
Of course it is. Yeah, and things like this are happening all over the world before they spring it on you, because America's the big guy on the block. So you don't want to start springing it on the big guy on the block. Start
Small.
hitting the little people who can't fight back. And then once you get it all nailed down and perfected and scientifically nailed down, then you hit the big guy and tie him down. That's what that whole story about Jonathan Swift was being nailed down by the little, by the little people who were nailing him down while he was sleeping. Remember?
Right.
Well, that was the story of America, and how those little people, the secret societies, the little ants, the hidden secret societies, that little by little are tying the great monster down. They're tying down the great American Republic and destroying it. And one day when he wakes up, even though he's so much bigger than all the rest of them, it's too late. They've tied him down every way but loose. So that's what's happening to us. But anyway, when the ship pulls into a harbor, it's bringing in, let's say, $800 million worth of Toyotas. Each one of those cars has to have its own certificate of manifest. And because it's coming in on water and money is changing hands, so we're talking maritime admiralty, we're talking the law of water, which is commerce. So when you were born, you came into the world through your mother's water. Her water broke. So when her water broke, you came down the birth canal, and her water broke, and you became a maritime admiralty product. You were born. And so, therefore, you have to have a birth certificate, and it's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is sitting, at the dock. So the dock signs your birth certificate, which means that you are now, if you go back to your birth certificate and look on the bottom, you will see the birth certificate goes directly to the Department of Commerce, because you are a maritime admiralty product. She gave birth to you. And therefore, when your mother or father signs the birth certificate, look at it. It doesn't say parent. It doesn't say mother, father. Where your parents signed the birth certificate, get it and look at it. It says informant. And on the bottom, it will tell you, on the bottom of birth certificates, that this is a security on the New York Stock Exchange.
Oh, collateral.
Collateral. Therefore, they don't mind. They want people pouring into this country from Mexico illegally. That's why the government has purposely not done anything to stop the flow of illegals into the country. Why? It's because every person coming into this country illegally through the border, the United States federal corporation makes millions off of that person's body. And therefore...
No, hold on. How are they doing that if the person is not documented?
That's right. They have to be documented. That's why there's such a big to-do now about documenting all of the aliens here, because they need to find out how many are here, document that, and then they can go to the international banks in Switzerland and get a credit for each and every body that was here. Each and every person's body is worth millions of dollars on the stock exchange. Now, when somebody comes into this country illegally, and until such time as they are documented, then the corporation called United States puts a lien on that person. It's called a mechanic's lien. If a painter paints your house and you don't pay him, he can put a mechanic's lien on the house, which means that if the house is sold, he has to be paid. So we're talking commerce.
First right,
so
yes.
There's a lien put on every person coming into this country, this United States illegally. There's a lien put on them, mechanic's lien, and therefore they're called alien. We call them an alien. Alien, which means an lien has been put on them. Therefore, they are an alien. So the aliens simply means a lien has been put on their body, and they need to be documented so that the corporation called United States can get credit for each body.
And what's your number? The Social Security number. That's why your name is in capital letters, right?
Precisely. You know, if you go to work for a big company like Ford Motor Company or any big corporation, they're going to give you a badge number. And your badge number establishes that you are lawfully employed by that corporation and lawfully there. So you have to wear your badge at work. Well, that's the badge number. It tells you, your number in the corporation. Well, that's what a Social Security card is. It's a badge number, and that number on the Social Security card, I don't see anything evil or bad about this. I'm just explaining to you what it is.
Sure.
Well, the Social Security card has a number on the front. That's your membership number in the corporation called United States, a privately owned company incorporated back in 1868. But on the back of the Social Security card, there is a series of numbers because you are the security for the body social called America, for the corporation called United States. So you're security for the body social. That's why when you retire, means you quit working, you get Social Security. No, Social Security, no, you are the security for the corporation's social arrangement. So they're using your body to finance the arrangement, the corporation. And therefore you get Social Security, which is like a little dividend for all of your hard work. At least we could do is give you a few bucks when you get older, which is like a little interest payment on all that we have been getting off of your body. We've been selling your body all over the world, the corporation has, and making hundreds of millions of dollars off of your body and the body of your wife and the body of your children. And so at least we could do is give you a few bucks, when you're too old. It's called socialism. And that's the way it works. You are a Maritime Admiralty product. You have to have a birth certificate. It's got to be signed by the doc. And if you're born dead, you can't help that. Some items are killed or died. So,
well, but Jordan, this is all voluntary, because
of course it is.
It is voluntary. However, they have gotten so smart now. If you go with your wife to the hospital to have your baby, they don't let you leave the hospital until you fill all the Social Security card information.
Of course.
One couple, the man refused to do that, and the nurse says, "I'm sorry, you cannot leave." And he says, "Bring me your hospital manager right now, or I'm going to sue you for kidnapping." So immediately the person came in and said, "Well, those are only hospital rules." They're really making people do that so that the kid, even before they can make an adult decision of being part of the corporation, they're enslaved from the moment they're born.
Of course. You don't have any problem with that, do you?
Oh, of course I do. But there's no way out now, do we?
No, there's no way out. But that's why I said to you before that I it's just my opinion, but I do not believe that freedom, liberty, and justice, will exist on the earth much longer. I think it is the Jefferson Memorial. Inside the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C., around the interior, around the inside of the memorial, it's written, and it's a very interesting quote that says, "Nothing was more." I'm paraphrasing it. It says, "Nothing is more written on the heart of God than that this people ought to be free." And so that's in the Jefferson Memorial. Nothing is more written on the heart of God that this people should be free. Well, I hate to tell you this because it's the truth, that our freedom in this country is finished. And the reason why is because the 99% of the population in this country collectively got an IQ of 46. Nobody reads, nobody knows, nobody understands how bank works, nobody understands how government works, nobody understands what the symbols mean or the catchphrases, nobody understands how this stuff really works, and the best part is nobody really cares. As long as the beer's cold, the Lakers are playing tonight. So what's the problem? You're living pretty good. You're eating steak dinners. You're living pretty good. You got a nice car. I mean, you got a home. You can stay warm at night. You got entertainment television. What's your problem? I mean, just go out and go to work and do your job and create wealth for your masters. And if you get out of line, we're going to find something wrong with you and you go into prison.
And don't question anyone.
Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want to go out and make a big to-do over something? Look, it's over. It's finished. We're slaves, period. Now, just enjoy your slavery. Go out and do your work. pay your taxes, and do whatever. Go out to the ball game, and the president will be out there throwing the ball. So Daddy's out there playing ball with us, and that's why on every basketball game and all the football games you will on television, you will always see they will zoom in on movie stars. They'll zoom in on famous people there at the game. That's an old trick. I learned that trick a long time ago. When I was a kid, when families would come over to visit my family, after dinner, the men would tell us kids, well, go on out and play ball. Go on out and play. Well, kids are going to play ball. I don't care if it's a kickball or soccer or football or baseball, tennis, or ping pong. I don't care what it is. Just go get a ball and go out and play, which is translated to mean adults want to talk adult talk, and they don't want the kids hearing it.
Yes.
And incidentally, you have the children of Israel, but we have kids. So therefore, the adults don't want the children hearing it, so they tell them to go out and play with a ball. You know, that's what dogs like to play with a ball. Cats like to play with a ball. All animals like to play with a ball. So go out and play with a ball and get out of here, because we want to talk some important talk. And so I would always say, no, I don't want to go out and play ball. I want to sit here in the front room with my dad and his brothers and his friends and listen to what the men are talking about. And my dad would always say, look it, out. There's a ball, go out and play ball. Well, then what my dad and my uncle would do, and I didn't realize at the time as a kid, they would go out to play ball with us. And consequently, you know, obviously, when my dad and my uncles are going out to play ball, now we want to go out and play ball because the adults are going out with us. Now it's fun. So the kids get together, we all go out and play ball with my dad and my uncle, and we're all happy with playing ball. And 10 minutes afterwards, my dad decides he's got something important to do, so he goes in. And a few minutes later, my uncle goes in, and then we're out there playing ball now, so that way they got us started. And now we're out there playing, and now they can go in and talk business. Well, that's the same thing that happens today. You'll see the president throwing out the ball at the big game, and they pledge allegiance to the flag and all that nonsense, and then the president comes out and he throws the ball. And then after that, every time you see the audience, you'll see a big movie star or some big shot and some politician, and they're at the ball game. Daddy and all the adults are there at the ball game with us. And I'm thinking to myself, Americans are the most ignorant people on the face of the earth. I'm just ashamed to even be in a country that buys that kind of stuff. I bought it when I was 7 years old because I was a kid, but I'm not a kid anymore. I don't care if the president's out throwing a ball. I want to know what he's doing at 3 o'clock in the morning with the Knights Templars and with the Masonic lodges of Vatican. I want to know who the mafia guys are that are running this country behind the scenes. I'm not interested in their silly ball games. I'm not stupid to go out and watch a silly football or basketball game. I know what's really going on.
Well, it's a form of mind control, isn't it? Just to keep us...
Of course it is. Give the kids something to keep them occupied. I'm not a kid. I'm an adult. I don't need a silly ball game. My brain is far, far more educated than that.
So, Jordan, who or what group do you believe the Rothschilds and or the Illuminati leaders are ultimately answerable to today, if anyone?
Well, I think that the real powers on this earth, you will never know who they are. You will never hear their names. You will never recognize them because they don't need to be in the public eye. The real powers of this world behind the Knights Templars, behind the Knights of Malta, behind the Vatican. You know, Caesars in Rome were not the powers of Rome. The power of Rome was in the Pisos family, called P-I-C-O-S, Pisos. Arius, Copernicus, Pisos, the whole entire Pisos family were the Rothschilds of the Roman Empire. So if you want to find out what was going on in the Roman Empire and what they were doing and who Caesar was and what his whole operation was doing in Rome, you go back and look at the Pisos family. Again, P-I-C-O-S, Arius, Copernicus, Pisos. Because the Pisos family were the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers of the Roman Empire. And when the Pisos family under Rome, the Romans moved into Britannia, which we call England,
right.
The Pisos set up their operation, their corporate operation, in a city called York, England. York, England became the center for power for the Pisos family in Britannia, or Roman power in Britannia. Now, when America was set up, that whole Pisos, Vatican, Roman power moved into America quite quietly and stealthily moved in to the new republic, and they called it, and they founded a place called New York. From the York rite of Freemasonry, New York is now the Empire State. And the empire is the British Empire, which now dominates America. So I don't have any problem with American Freemasonry. I don't see American Freemasonry as evil or bad. I see it 99% made up of just ordinary guys who belong to a fraternity like any other fraternity. But what I do see as frightening is the British Grand Lodge operating in America, because so much of American Freemasonry has been co-opted and taken over by the British Grand Lodge, and the German Order of Strict Observance has moved into America and began to take over the American Masonic establishment. Well, I don't have any problem with the American Masonic Order. I think they're just good people, good guys, just people belonging to a fraternity. But there is a very sinister presence in this country, and it's called the Grand Lodge of England. The British, the men of the covenant. What covenant? The British Grand Lodge. That's very scary stuff. That kind of stuff was what Mel Gibson was talking about in his movie Patriot. So you need to go get the movie Patriot and watch and understand that what the Patriots were up against was the British Grand Lodge in America. That's a whole story in itself, you know.
Don't we have a one-world government when we have the tri-state London dealing with the money aspects of the world, Washington, D.C. with the military aspects of the world, and the Vatican with the spiritual aspects?
You got it. That's the name of the tune. That's it. I couldn't explain it any better. You're exactly right. That's the name of the tune. And so that's why the human race, as I've said God knows how many times now, the human race is we are like animals that have no direction. We're not organized. We're not educated. We're not very intelligent. We are creatures of habit. We watch the same old TV shows, drink the same beer, go to the same ball games, and all the time we're just living out our little mundane lives. There are very powerful secret societies and very powerful organized criminal. We even call it organized crime. Organized criminal organizations operating around the world in orchestrated fashion. They're working with each other to imprison the whole earth and all over the world. And as I said, for 2,700 years, Rome has ruled Europe. And for 2,700 years, Europe has ruled the world. So if you want to know what's going on the earth today with the euro and the destruction of the United States of America and the Great Republic, then you better go back and look at something you've never looked at before, the Vatican. Because that's where the name of the tune is. When I hear all this stuff about the Jews are doing this and the Jews are doing that, and the Jews this and Jews that, as far as I'm concerned, no. Go back and look at the Vatican, because the Jews were being persecuted in Europe, like everybody else, with the gypsies and all the other people who are being persecuted by Rome. No, if I were going to put any particular group, and I'm not talking about the Catholic people, I'm not talking about the people of religion. My mother who's gone was a Catholic. She raised me as a Catholic. So I'm not complaining about the Catholic people. I'm talking about the corporate entities that run the earth. The Vatican has been around for a long time, almost 1,680 years. The Vatican has been dominating the affairs of Europe, and Europe has been dominating the affairs of the world. So the bottom line is corporate law, maritime admiralty, you're talking about canon law. You're talking about the Vatican controlling Rome. Today, people crawl on their knees from all over the world to go and see the Holy Father. So I'm just telling you, there's nothing holy in Rome. There's nothing holy or righteous in Salt Lake City. All these organizations are secret societies and fraternal orders that are being financed and orchestrated out of Europe. Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Mormons, Christadelphians, Worldwide Church of God. All of these are British Israelite York Rite cults. All of them are being financed and organized by the same people. I mean, that's a whole story about Jehovah's Witnesses. I could go on for 2 hours on
Well,
that.
somebody had a question about that. They wanted to know, Mo, this person was a former Jehovah's Witness, and he wanted to know more about your take on that.
I always say I am not the world's foremost authority on anything. But if I were to step out and say that I was an authority on anything, it would be Jehovah's Witnesses. Because I know Jehovah's Witnesses. I know where the financing has come from. I know who Charles Taze Russell was. I know the connection between C.T. Russell and Lord Louis the Rothschild. I know about his money that he got from the Rothschilds and from the Zionist bankers in Europe. I know all about that. As a matter of fact, I sat with the members of the governing body. Two of the members of the governing body came here to L.A. from New York, and I was privileged to be sitting with these two members and a whole bunch of other officials from the Watchtower Society. And I asked and one of the officials at the table was the chief accountant for the Watchtower Bible Tract Society in New York. So the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, or Jehovah's Witnesses, their main financial manager, the chief accounting officer, was here, and I had dinner with him. And I asked him in front of everyone else. And they were very open, because they realized I'm not stupid, and they know that I know what's going on. And this was a private dinner. And so I asked him, I said, look, where is the Watchtower Society? Because I read from their literature that they spend well over $65 million a year just in salaries alone. $65 million just in salaries around the world, plus all of their buildings that they're building all around the globe, their printing presses around the globe, their computers, and connecting to their satellites. It's an enormous multi-billion-dollar business, Jehovah's Witnesses. They're not the only ones.
The Mormons, too.
The Mormons are, too. But I specifically asked him, because he's the chief accountant for the Watchtower Society. And I said, where do you get your money? When obviously there's not that many Jehovah's Witnesses. There's not that many witnesses, and most of them are all working class poor. You don't have any wealthy witnesses. You only have working class poor. And from what I've gathered, they don't have anything. So where are you getting these billions each year? And he quite literally said to me, he said, we have an open corporate account with Morgan Guarantee Trust of Philadelphia and Chase Manhattan Bank of New York. And I said, would you explain that? He said, yes, it's called an open corporate account. And we have two accounts. We have two checkbooks. One is with Morgan Guarantee, which is in Philadelphia, and we have another checkbook, which is the Chase Manhattan, Rockefellers, and each year we're given a checkbook, and whatever checks we write are covered, no matter what it is.
So where's the money coming from?
That's what I'm saying. So I said, well, where is that money coming? Well, the banks are financing us. Whatever it is we need, the banks back it. You got a bank account, write the check, it's good. And so we've been...
When you finance somebody, you have to repay.
Well, no, we're not talking about that.
You know where I'm coming from.
We're talking about an open-end account.
Yes,
in other words, you got an open-end account with me. I'm fabulously wealthy. Here's a checkbook. Go out and have a good time. Whatever it is you write, just understand it'll be covered. Now, you've got to ask yourself, why would the Rockefellers of Chase Manhattan and J.P. Morgan, which represents the Rothschilds of England, J.P. Morgan was a Rothschild cousin.
Yes.
And he represented the Rothschild interest in America. Now, why would the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers finance Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yes, what is the purpose?
Isn't that interesting? Because Jehovah's Witnesses, the people themselves are dear people. I love them.
Yes.
I love the Mormon people. I love all these people. They're just regular people. But the organizations are financed out of London and New York for a reason. They are there to prepare the people for the Novus Ordo Seclorum, the New World Order. the new order that's coming on the earth, in which Jesus will come back into his kingdom, which we were told back in 1930s. Jesus will come back soon, and when he comes back, he will set up his kingdom on the earth, and so you need to get ready. Get ready for the Lord who's coming back, and he's going to set up a world kingdom, a world government, and Jehovah's Witnesses are working feverishly, waiting for the Lord to come back, and so are the Mormons, and Seventh-day Adventists, and Worldwide Church of God, and God knows all the other York Rite, Masonic, British Israel, financed out of London cults. And I'm just amazed watching the world go down the tubes, and nobody seems to have figured out what the name of this tune is and how it's being played. And I've spent 50 years looking at this stuff, and today I'm criticized, called every name of the book. But I know there will come a day when people will begin to finally wake up. And when they do, they're going to see it's way too late. But there is a light. There is one good thing that I can say, that in the concentration camps that America's going into, at least you will be able to watch football, most likely. They'll have TV there so you can watch your basketball in the prison. But your freedom and liberty and justice and the light of spiritual enlightenment that was your birthright is gone. So America needs to prepare herself to go down on her knees to the Vatican and to the Holy Father and to the powers of the Roman Empire, because that's where we are. And I'm telling you, the people love it.
But Jordan, you've researched all this. Do you have anything in mind that can turn the tide?
In all honesty,
yes.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't believe there's a chance in hell. No.
So what is somebody supposed to do? Somebody that knows what you know. What are they supposed to do? Just sit down and wait for the other boot to fall on their faces?
No, it's already too late. I mean, why would you try and do anything? Because it's way too late. And the point being is that there are hundreds of millions of people in this country that will call the authorities on you because you are talking like Al-Qaeda.
Yes.
You must be some kind of a communist or something. You know, you don't love the Lord, and you don't love the Lord Jesus, and you don't go to church, and you're talking about some crazy corporation or something you're talking about. That's all a bunch of bull.
Right.
And there's something wrong with you. And before you know it, you get a knock on the door or a call from the government, say, you better watch your mouth. They'll knock on your door and take you off to jail, and and with the Homeland Security, we got to secure this place. That's what Hitler said. We got to secure this place. We got too many people thinking out there. So I say, it's just my opinion, but I don't think there's any hope for this country because the handful of people like yourself who may be knowledgeable on some of this, you could put all of us into one place and it wouldn't even fill a thimble, while the hundreds of millions of people just love the Holy Father, movie stars, big shots, Donald Trumps. Everybody just loves to crawl on their knees to the emperor and to the masters and to the movie stars and the Holy Father, and they will actually call the cops on you if you start talking all that un-German thoughts, start talking against the Nazi movement in Berlin. That can be very dangerous because you're thinking un-German thoughts. There's something wrong with you.
Well, now in North Carolina or South Carolina, you have to register yourself if they consider you to be subversive.
Well, that's it. So anyway.
Jordan, it's top of the hour. Thank you so much for staying an extra hour with us. It was a fascinating show. Whatever we can do to help you, my friend, you are part of the truth movement. And I want you to know there's people around the world that respect and admire what you do. So don't ever feel that you walk this road alone.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.